Okay, so this was our lab last week. I'm just going to review it here. It's part of chapter 3 in the Revit textbook. It starts on page 3-8. If you go to your Blackboard, there's 3 files in there you can download. The first one, and I have it open here, is Modern Hotel Start floor plans. Basically just an empty drawing. And we're going to start in this section again on 3-8, setting up levels. First thing it does, it says go to your north elevation. So down here is north elevation. You see we only have 2 levels. So I'm going to come over here to floor 1. We're actually going to change the name. Zoom in on this. I just double click here. I'm going to change this to floor 1. Enter. It says, would you like to rename the corresponding view? If you look over here where it said level 1, if I say yes and you watch that, it changes now to floor 1. Now we're going to change level 2 to floor 2. Yes. We're going to change our elevation on this one to 18 feet because this is the lobby of our hotel. So our lobby is going to have a little higher ceiling height for that grandiose appearance. And you can see when I did that, it actually pushed that line up. So now we're going to go to our datum section over here where it says level. We're going to click on that. We're going to select an offset of 12 feet. We're going to select this pick line option right here. So if I come down and I pick this line, you'll notice this blue line either above or below. When I see the line up above, I'm just going to left click. You'll notice it also picked up the fact that it was in floors, so it renames it similar to what's down below. So I'm going to keep going all the way up, creating floors. Oops, screwed that one up. Pick line, there we go. Sometimes your mouse, it doesn't take much of a mouse movement to put it in the wrong direction if you're kind of rushing just a little bit. The last one is floor 9 for now. And what we want to do is change, hit escape twice, there we go. Change this level to roof. So now if you look over here on the left side, we have floor plans 1 through 8. Roof, I don't know where 10 and 11, did I accidentally create 10 and 11? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's be on top. I'm going to go ahead and delete those. Just, I'm not sure where they came from, so I don't need them. Oops. Yep. Okay, that's right. Okay. So we're still in our north elevation. Now we can see all of the floor elevations. When we talk about levels, we're actually talking about vertical elevations within a building or any type of structure. Oh, there it is. Floor 11. Delete that. Yes. And floor 10. Guess they must have just been up above. So there's our roof line at 102. And now we're going to do a same thing again. Go to my north elevation. I'm already in that. Click level. This time I'm going to change. I'm going to put my offset at 5 feet. And I'm going to uncheck where it says make a plan view. So this plan is not going to make a view over here on the side. And it's set to 5 feet. So if I click this, this is the parapet. If you're on a low sloped roof, we're going to have a band around the outside that actually allows us to hide basically some of the structures on the roof. So we'll call this parapet. Just a short 5-foot wall around the perimeter. Okay? You'll notice these are blue because they have plan views associated with them. this one is black because there is no plan view. If we look over here, we see we have floors 1 through 8 and the roof, but no parapet, which is just what we want. Let's get down to the floor 1, and what we're going to do now is put a basement level in. The basement is going to actually be 10 feet below, so I'm going to click level again. I'm just going to put 10. We are going to make a plan view for the basement. We're going to use pick line. There's our basement. Notice it tells me it's negative 10. Oops. Get too anxious with the mouse. Rename it basement. There we go. There's our basement level. And now we're going to create one more level. This one will be 2 feet lower. I'm not really following the textbook because they want you to put negatives. And I don't need a plan view for top of footing. Pick line. This one will be T period O period footing. Everything's good. Yep. Now, here's our problem. See, if I select that, it hides stuff. Click this little elbow. See this little zigzag line? Just click on that. And it will jog for you. So I can pull this line over. These little handles I can now use to create kind of an elbow on this whole system and pull those things out so that we don't have text that's kind of interfering. So again, it's black, so there's no floor plan associated with it. I'll do a ZE for zoom enter. There's our entire piece. See if I can pull this out. Oops. There you go. You see how it lines up with the other ones now. ZE, we'll do a file. I'm going to do a file save as. And I'm going to put this project in our, I'll use my CO1 CAD drawings. You can see I've done this a few times. I'm going to call it CJ's Hotel. Hotel California. Okay, that's part 1. Part 2 is further on in the chapter. It's in, starts on page 3-23, creating structural grids. So in this case, we're in the same drawing. We're going to floor plan 1. So just double click floor plan 1. And we're going to import those other 2 files. So in this case, we're going to go to Insert, up here at the top, Link CAD is our option. I'm going to go to, I know I stuck these on my desktop, so I could probably, there's our hotel lobby floor plan. So in your case, you might have dropped yours right into the your CAD drawing files, but I want this is just an AutoCAD file, so you're not going to open it in Revit. If you double click, it'll just open in AutoCAD by itself. But in this case, we're just going to select this, and down here at the bottom, we want to say black and white for our colors, bring in all levels, auto detect, and our positioning is going to be origin to origin. If I say open, it will place that floor plan right on the screen. So there's our lobby floor plan that we're going to use. It's basically just a template that's in the background, but it also gives us the ability to snap to individual points. Even though when I select this, it gives me this little pinpoint. And this is what we're going to do. Select it till it turns blue, so to speak. Right click, and we're going to say override graphic view by element. We're going to change this to halftone. Hit OK. And you'll notice it kind of grays it out, kind of puts it in the background. Now we're going to go to our floor 2. Sure. Yep. I still see the floor plan, it's just my view attributes, and I'm going to link CAD again. This time I want to grab my typical guest room plan. Same thing, black and white, auto detect, and make sure you change this origin to origin. We're going to say open. There's our guest room plan on the top now. Lines right up with the lobby floor plan below. If we select this and pin it, right click, say override graphics in view by element, change it to halftone, hit OK. There's our grayscale. So now guest room floor plan, lobby floor plan. Okay? We're going to create our structural grids now, and to do this, go to your floor plan at the bottom. In this exercise, we're not going to need the elevations, so I'm going to select all of these by just holding down my control key, right click, and just say hide in view those elements. So all we're left with is just the floor plan. In this view, we're going to our architecture tab, and we're going over here this time to grid. I want to set, yeah, I can do this later. So we're going to select pick lines. I'm going to zoom in on this area, and I'm just going to, there's no offset, I'm going to select this line. It comes up as number 1. I want across the top my grid lines to actually be in letters, so I just click this and click in capital letter A. Now when I pick each consecutive line, it recognizes the fact that I want my top to be in letter format. Come down here, I'm going to hit this horizontal, and then click on the K, and I want this one to be number 1. And this one will be 2, 3, 4, and 5. So now if I'm trying to locate this, or I want to talk to somebody on the phone about this building, I'm saying over by column D4. D4. It's going to put it right in this area. So it makes it an easy way to converse and communicate about where things are located on the screen. Okay, I'll make sure I was recording here. Alright, so I'm going to hit escape. I'm going to go back to our architecture plan, floor 1. I actually want to change this to, oops. There we go. I want to change this to 1/16 of an inch scale. You'll notice when I do that, it makes my bubbles bigger. That's fine. This is so it'll fit on our paper. So now I'm going to get off the textbook for a second, go look at sheets and say new sheet. I want to load, and if you had saved your title block, you may have to recreate yours if you didn't. I'm going to my 11 by 17 horizontal, in this case it's CJ, hit open, and I'm going to say OK. There's my title block. If I move up here now to my floor plan, just hold my left mouse button in and drag it over onto the screen. There's my floor plan sheet that I can place on here to print out eventually. Okay, while I'm here, I might as well change some stuff. This is going to be CIE 101. I'm using the project name as just main. We'll say Hotel Project 1 author. Whoops, issue date 4/10/14. 14. A101's fine. Put the author in, check by, we don't care. You notice it automatically picked up the scale at 1/16 of an inch equals a foot. So that said, there's our title block. All we have to do now is we'll go back to our floor plan and finish working on this. So we've created this structural grid. The next part of this is we're actually going to put our columns in at the location of those grid columns. Very easy to do. We enter our architectural tab up here already and go to column, structural column. There's a precast square 36 by 36. If you drop this down, what we want is the 12 inch by 12 inch columns. Precast square columns, 12 by 12. In the options bar, we're going to set the height right here to floor 2. So it's going to go from floor 1 to floor 2 with these 12 inch columns. Then we're going to select at grids. Now this is actually pretty easy. So I'm just going to left click. I'm going to hold down my control key and left click on all of these vertical grids all the way across, and then all of these horizontal grids. You can see the lines. When I'm all done, let go of the control key and then just come up here and click this check mark. So what that did is it actually placed those grids on. Now if I go to my 3D view, there they are. And if I actually hold down my middle wheel and my control key, I can spin this around. So there's our columns between lobby floor and guest room floor 1. We have those plan views in 2D. Now we can actually look at it in 3D. Now, in this case, we actually want those columns to run the entire length from the top of the footings all the way to the top. So I'm going to select just one easy, well actually I want to go back here because if I go to floor 1, not my ceiling plan, make sure, I'm going to minimize that, there we go. So I need to see that floor plan. Some of these columns I don't need. I don't need those two. I don't need this one. And I don't need these two in the stairwell. Those are not necessary. The rest we all need. You can see by the old plan view, you could actually see where the columns are located. So any place there was no column located on a grid line, just take it out. Okay? So the next thing, I'll go back to my 3D view again, and I'm going to select just one column right here. And now I can just right click and say select all instances visible in view. Ping, there's all my columns visible in that view. I'm going to change over here my base level to top of footing. I'm going to change my top level to roof. And hit OK. Now you can see my columns actually run from the top of my footing to my roof level. Okay? We're going to return to floor 1. Actually, we'll just take a look at it here. Everything looks good. What you need to do now is we're going to go to our sheet file. There's our plan. This is our homework or lab assignment that we did last week. Keep in mind, don't lose any of this stuff because each week as these chapters progress, we're going to build on this. So next lab, we're going to actually put the exterior walls on in chapter 4, which is going to be kind of interesting. So we're going to go to now the big R, export, DWF. There it is. Make sure you go to DWF properties and look at your print setup Make sure it says use sheet size, which is the sheet that we actually created this on. Everything else should be good. Hit next. I'm going to put this in my CO1 lab work PDFs. I'm going to call it CJ's Hotel and hit OK. Now most of you should be able to view this. It uses an EXP. I actually have the AutoCAD Viewer program on here, checker. If I open that up, CJ's Hotel DWF, it's going to open up this program called Autodesk Design Review. And this is a program that a head engineer would look at your drawings, you'd submit them as a DWF, and he'd go in and say, well, you know, this area here, he'll put a balloon around it. Hit enter. Oops. Well, shoot. Probably says close here. There. And he may put a note. It says change this to blah blah blah. You could stamp it, not for construction. And then send it back to you and say make these changes and resubmit. So all of that stuff can be done with the, you know, he's got some sketching tools here. All it does is it lays on top of your drawing, so it doesn't change anything. You'll see the DWF with the marks on it. That's about it. He can also measure some things if he wants to measure. And what you want to do is go to your units and say, okay, drawing units are in feet and inches. Let's just see then if we can measure from here to here is actually 17 feet 2 inches between columns. Okay, between here and here is 29 feet 1 inch. Very easy for him to measure right off the system here on your drawing as to what these are, so it's recognizable. So you might submit a whole package of drawings. He's going to go in, he's going to check these things out, he's going to redline them, he's going to make some notes, send it back to you, or you'll send it down the line to whoever. They'll make the changes in the model so that it reflects all of the changes that they want in the drawings. You may end up actually sending back to him and saying, hey, that doesn't work because it messes up something else in the model, and he'll say, oh, thank you very much for saving my butt. That's it. That's our lab for last week. If you need to review or you're behind, then here's a good video for you to work from. Thanks.